Welcome to Christmas at Bear's Paw Ranch. I'm Eleanor Burns. 'Tis the season to gather your baskets and fill them with poinsettias, pine cones, branches from the forest. 'Tis the season to stitch up a basket of tier wall hanging with perfect perky points on the handles. Join Sue Bouchard and I as we share our favorite hobbies for the holidays. Inexpensive, readily available, and truly beautiful decorations from natural materials are appropriate for the holidays. Well, I found these all in my woods and I just love them. They smell so good. This is truly a basket of cheer. Well, welcome my good friend, Sue Bouchard.
Thank you.
Now, Sue, you make the most beautiful baskets out of natural gourds.
I love gourds, and I've started making them a couple years ago, and every summer, that's one of my favorite things to do. This is what one looks like when I get started. This is all dirty, like it grows right out of the ground.
It looks yucky.
It takes a year to get to this point. It starts out in the spring, they harvest them in the fall, and then they dry till the next spring.
So it's hard now.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
pretty hard. So what I do, as you can tell, it has a lot of excess kind of dirt on it, so I soak it in water. And after I soak it in water, I can just take like a Brillo pad or some sort of like sponge with a
steel wool
abrasive on it, yeah, and it just clears off all that excess and makes it really smooth, and you can start to see the natural color come through. Isn't that pretty?
And I love you still have the stem.
Yeah. When you have really nice stems like this, you can make cute little baskets that have lids on them, so those are really fun.
Very cute.
The next thing I like to do is I like to dye them, and I use leather dyes. And this is just an example. This is a little pear gourd, and I used a red leather dye on it. And I just think it's really pretty to stand alone like it is.
It's beautiful. It looks good enough to eat.
Good enough. It does look good enough to eat. And here's actually another smaller one, and you can see a little bit more of the gourd texture in there.
Beautiful.
Yeah, sometimes I like to cut off the tops though. And when I do cut off the tops, you can see what it looks like inside. This has actually been cleared out. I use a grapefruit spoon to get out all the excess dead. And I use things around the house that works really well. And to cut it, you can use like an X-Acto knife, you can use a little miniature jigsaw, or you can just use a pumpkin, what you use to cut out pumpkins. This is also painted on the inside black. It's kind of, sometimes it gets like discoloration, so it's nice just to paint it black.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and I love the texture on this outside one. I didn't really wipe off the dye, just let it settle in. I just think it's really pretty like that. From here, you can leave it plain, like I like to leave it plain sometimes.
That's a big one. Look at that.
Yeah, this is a bigger one, and I wanted to put some handles in it, so I just cut down into the body of the gourd. You can tell that. I actually keep my sewing supplies in this one. I just carry them around.
Perfect. I love this handle.
Yeah, I love putting antlers on my gourds, and it just makes a great little handle. And then I just use a stiletto, a regular sewing stiletto.
Another use for a stiletto.
That's right. And you can just punch holes in it, and I just sew. It's just another thing to sew.
Really fun.
And here's some little ones that.
I love your little.
Is this little horsies?
A horse. Oh,
that's
very
as close
cute.
as I'll ever get to a horse. You can also do some wood burning. You do some wood burning, and then I use some
the flying geese patch.
Yeah, the flying geese patch. I just free-formed it. I didn't really draw it on first, so it looks kind of rustic.
It looks good.
And that's all.
And then you can fill them with natural items, with cinnamon sticks and walnuts. How about some apples? And we even put some cookies in a gourd. Very cute. Well, Sue, I have your Christmas present for you.
Oh, how exciting.
Some natural feathers from
I love the teeth.
Bear teeth.
Oh, those
too
are
cute. And antlers. Very nice.
Turkey feathers. How nice.
So are you ready to make the quilt now?
I am ready.
Let's get started. Sue and I have 5 baskets of tier to make. Now there are 2 different fabrics used in the handle. This is the top part of the handle and the middle part. Then we're going to show you how to do the bottom of the basket and the feet. We'll set it together with the lattice And then Judy Jackson did the quilting in it. She did these great flowers in this side triangle, little loop-de-loops in that framing border, and more flowers on the outside edges. Just beautiful for the holidays. Now, Sue, if one person can make a quilt in a day, both of us together should be able to make a quilt in half a day. That makes sense to me. Well, let's get rolling here.
Okay.
Okay, these are the two fabrics for the handle. This is the top, and this is the middle. They are 6-inch squares, and you need to have 4 sets of each one of these, background and then the handle fabric. Boy, that's a lot of sewing. Okay, flip them right sides together, and then with your permanent marking pen, draw an X from corner to corner. Okay, line it up and just mark one corner to the other and turn it around and mark one corner to the other. I tell you, Sue, I appreciate your permanent marking pens every time. How many of these do you think you've given me?
Hundreds. I buy them by the case.
So by the gross, huh?
I do.
All right, your turn to sew, and you go for it, girl.
Okay, I'm just sewing 1/4 inch on both sides of these drawn lines. And I just like to go down one end. When I get to the end, I just pull it out a little bit and give it a little extra thread. And then I'll just continue going down the other side. And when I measure my stitches going across, it's about 1/2 inch.
Perfect. And what's your stitches per inch?
I like to use 15 stitches per inch.
15 or 2.0?
Yeah, on the computerized machine.
Oh, when you have one of those little things that Teresa uses.
Yeah, well, it saves a lot of your thread, but it also helps your fabric from going down into your bobbin case. And that's really the feature I really like about using that.
Now me, I like to have tons of thread laying all over the place.
That is absolutely correct. You like for it to stick to your clothes, too.
A little bit messy, huh?
Oh, that's okay. We just pick it off of you.
All right, you're nearly done with that one.
And I'm just going to assembly line sew that one right after that and give you this.
Okay, that's good. Here you go. And just slip
And
that.
this is what I do if I was sewing them all at once.
Yes.
I just go ahead and assembly line sew them.
Don't waste a stitch there. Okay, I have my 6x12 ruler, and I have the X right on here. I'm going to line up the 3-inch line along the side. This is a 6-inch square, so I'm cutting it in half. Good on math. You're the one that's good on math, Sue. Cut it in half, and then just turn it around and cut the opposite way. And you try to keep it together without falling apart. Then go back on the diagonal lines, and then the other way. It's slipping just a bit. Okay, now take a look right here in the center, right where you have all these little threads that go around there. This is the part that's been cut fresh, and this is where the lines might be crooked. Well, I made them oversized so I could square them up. I have the 6.5-inch square up ruler, and I'm just going to take and place the 2.5-inch line right on this piece. And this is the edge that I don't need to trim. This is the extra right along there. Okay, 2.5 inches on the threads. Just take it and cut off the extra. Take it, get rid of it. Now, I like to trim off the corners right now. Just turn it to the side. It's like a 60-degree angle. And just cut right in there, and I'm done.
You're good.
Now, Sue has a different way that she likes to do. You don't like to cut your tips off now, huh?
No, I like to wait till it's pressed open.
Okay, so I'm just going to put the 2.5-inch diagonal line right on the stitches, trim the extra, and no cutting off tips at the moment. Okay, you want to press your seams towards the dark. Take and drop your little half square triangle. Just set that seam real quick, open, and press right in there. Oh, this is yours, Sue.
Yeah.
Looks strange to me. Well, at least we have our differences. Okay, mine is completely trimmed on the outside, but look at Sue's. You've got these big old tips hanging out. So you just line up your scissors and cut those off even. And now they're the same. And get those tips, get rid of them. See, we should be putting that in a little jar as confetti for our children's wedding, for our sons, huh?
Yeah, some people call that their quilt seeds, and if they plant them, they're supposed to grow quilts. I always thought that was funny.
Okay, we have 2 of the units, actually all 3 of the units already sewn together. This is the top part, this is the left middle, this is the right middle. That makes sense? Okay, would you like to sew another one of these?
Yeah, I need 3 of those triangles.
3 of the gold, and you need to have a 2.5-inch background square.
Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it out. So it looks like that.
This is tricky.
Yeah, you got to make sure they're going in the right direction. I like to compare back to the book because it's really easy to turn those around.
Okay.
Okay, so I got it here, but I'm going to kind of just turn it just a little bit so I make sure that I have them going in the right direction.
So they're pointing towards you.
And I'm just going to flip these right sides together and just assembly line sew with my 1/4 inch.
Good. And the way all of these pieces are pressed, then they're going to lock together when we sew them together.
Yeah, that's great about this basket block because they do all lock.
That is going to be really good. Okay, add the second one on. So how long have you been quilting, Sue?
I think about 12 years, maybe
12
13.
Years? That's
But
a
I've been
long time.
Yeah, I've been sewing all my life though.
Yes, me too.
Well, maybe.
And actually, how long have you worked a quilt in a day?
12 years.
12 years.
I'm a quick study. Okay, so I just open these up and it looks like this.
Good.
And then I'm just going to flip it right sides together, and when I do, I'm going to lock these seams by pushing the one on top up and the one underneath will go down.
Great.
And that way I don't even need to use pins. It'll just lock right in there.
That's something you learned, huh?
Exactly. I used to pin everything.
Well, we're going to finish sewing all of these together, and then we'll show you how to finish the vlog.
This is going almost as fast as making our gourds.
You are right. It's good. This is the bottom of the basket. It's a 5-inch square. I need to have a background square, same size. Put it right sides together. Okay, Sue, how many diagonal lines?
We only need 1 this time.
This
is going to go twice as
This
fast.
is going to go even faster. Okay, line it up, and it's your job now. I like this.
Sew together more often.
We should. Actually, I really like giving that to you to sew and me just sitting and watching, because I'll tell you what, I made a basket of cheer too.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Look at the matches. You gotta look.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, I used the reproduction fabric because I really like the 1800 fabric here in the log house. But this is all I got done. 1 little basket of cheer.
Okay, so when we get this one done, we'll get to yours, okay?
Okay, that's a promise.
There you go.
Okay, now you want to take it, cut it right down through the middle, and this is squared up to what size?
4.5 inches.
Okay, now the thing is about this one, we're going to line up 4.5 right on the stitches, but both outside edges need trim this time. So I'm just going to zoom up one side, just turn it around, and trim down the other side. Perfect. And then just cut off those tips. I get to do it my way, right?
Yep.
You're at my machine. I get to do it my way.
There you go.
Okay, so go ahead and just set it. Set that seam open and press. Now, if this is 4.5 inches, what size do the other pieces have to be?
Hopefully they're 4.5 inches too.
That's a good thing. Hopeful. You're right. Okay, so now you're going to sew right down this vertical row and this one. Okay, so flip these right sides together, go straight down there. Okay, and while you do that, I'm going to get the feet ready. This is my second one for another basket. Okay, the feet come from backgrounds, side pieces. They're 2.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and the feet are 3 inches square. So just take your ruler. You can line up the diagonal line on the side, and it's that confusing thing, Sue, that dyslexia thing.
Yeah, they have to be mirror image.
They're mirror image, and I have to watch that every time. So this is how they're going to go here. Now see, they match up with the square lines, but you've got tips on both ends. How are you doing there?
Almost got it.
Okay, so you're locking those seams together?
Yeah, the seams lock together just wonderfully.
Oh, that is perfect. That is perfect. You know, what do you remember as a child celebrating at Christmas? What was your favorite thing?
My favorite thing,
Your favorite thing?
actually happened when my parents went to sleep, and we would sneak out and try and see what was under the tree.
Yes.
That was really fun. And I loved having all my cousins come in.
Uh-huh.
That was kind of the only time all year that we all got together, so it was a special time.
Uh-huh. You know, when I was young, we always got gifts from Aunt Georgie, and I was so bad. I would sneak behind the couch and slit open the presents. And you know, I didn't have any fingernails. I actually had to grow fingernails so I could slit those presents open.
I'm shocked.
I know, my mother never knew.
There you go. It matched pretty good, I think.
That is great. It's perfect. Okay, now while I press this, I want you to take the feet. I'm going to just slip these right sides together. They match right in here. They're square, tips on both ends.
All right.
Those are yours. And so I'm just going to press this first from the right side so I don't have any folds in it. And I'm just going to go in like this, press over. Ooh, it's so beautiful. And then look on the wrong side. Make sure you don't have any twisting. I like to go back because if you have extra bulky seams where they've twisted, then it's harder to quilt them.
That's so true.
That is so true, but you know, I like to quilt with my credit card. That means all I do is call up my cousin, mail her my quilts, and she charges me. And that works for me.
Do you want to press these while you're over there?
Yes. Okay, you take that. Okay, so I'm just going to set the seam with the feet on the top, open and press towards the feet. Let's do the second one and press right along there. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, now let's lay them out. We're going to do this side first. Match up here, let your tip hang out on the top. Okay, flip that right sides together. I am really glad you're doing this. Now this is my favorite. This is my favorite thing at Christmas. I love to set my table really special with Christmas china and put candles all over the table and
Your
really
tables always look good.
I love to do that. But the funny thing is I like to put little personal candles on each plate and light them. So I have the candles in the center and little personal candles. And this is the tradition. The family has to tell their favorite thing that happened to them or make a wish before they're allowed to burn out their candle. This is the bottom. This is the very bottom triangle. The size of that is 5.5 inches. So this piece also is enough for two of them. So let me just cut it in half on one diagonal. And this is going to be yours. Okay, now this is what makes really nice edges on the basket. Right along here, we want to keep our 1/4 inch seam. But see how we've got this extra hanging out. I like to take a ruler that has a 1/4 inch line on. Oh, this is perfect, right? 1/4 inch there. But see how it's lined up, and I can just trim all that off right across the bottom. Perfect.
Oh, that looks good.
That looks great.
Okay, and then we're just going to add this here.
Okay.
Like that.
And how do you like to line it up?
I like just to center it so my tips hang out sort of equally on both sides.
Okay.
Okay, it is oversized, so it doesn't matter if it's not exactly in the middle.
And it's best if you sew it upside down.
Yeah, and then you can cross over. See where this little X with our thread that you can see with this nice red thread. And when we come along with our 1/4 inch seam, it's just going to go right through the middle of that X.
Perfect, perfect. And then in the very end, to make it very crisp, you want to use your 12.5 inch square up ruler. And we're just going to trim that off so it is perfect. Oh, you're nearly there.
Almost.
Almost. And one more pressing. Oh, cut that thing off there.
There you go.
Oh, perfect. So now you want to press so the seam is going down towards that triangle. Take the 12.5 inch square up ruler, place it right on here. The diagonal line goes right up through the middle. Oh, you did good sewing, Sue. You're a keeper.
Oh, good.
We're going to get started on mine. Okay, we have the 1/4 inch seam on both sides. Just trim one side, turn it around, trim the other.
Perfect.
Oh, this is something to cheer about. Now we're going to lay out the lattice and we'll sew it together.
Great.
Sue, we're getting closer to my quilt.
I know, and I'm so excited for you.
It's close. First, I want to measure this block. We're going to find out how good Sue was. The ideal measurement is 10.5 inches. What do you think?
Pretty good.
Looking good.
Pretty good.
10.5 inches for the block. And so the lattice needs to also be cut at 10.5 inches. Now the lattice is 2.5 inches wide, and I'm just going to take that salvage edge, get rid of it, cut a 10.5 inch. Oh, how many layers am I going through here?
4.
Oh, there, and out of one strip, I can get 4 of those cut over towards the fold. Good.
Good job.
And here are your lattice.
Okay, I'm going to just lay out my blocks first.
On point.
On point. I'm going to leave room to put my lattice in.
That's good. I'm
Just a
turning
little
these
bit more.
right side up for you.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, and now you have to have your 2.5 inch cornerstones.
I have those right here. So let me start laying this out.
Good. One in between each one of them. Good.
And then I go ahead and put them along the outside edges.
2. They're just barely going to fit on this table,
Just barely, but they will.
but that's looking good. All right, you take these, and I'm going to cut the side triangles.
All right.
They come from a really big square. This is a 20-inch square, and actually your 6 by 24-inch ruler will not reach from corner to corner. So what we did was fold it in half and press in one direction on the diagonal, and then fold it in half the other way and press again. So we pressed those lines in, and now whenever you run out of ruler, you can just slide it along. Okay, got the ruler right on that pressed line. Slide your ruler up, out to one side, and then turn it around the other way and just go right in here. These look like these might be a little oversized too, Sue.
Yeah, they are, so we can square the edges off when we're done.
I always like to just square off in the end. Okay, this one is going to go right in here. That helps to get that placed. And then
That looks
up at the
good.
top, you can add that on all 4 sides. And then the last thing that we have to do is cut the corner squares. The corner squares, same background fabric, and they are, what was that measurement?
12.5.
12.5. You need to have 2 12.5-inch squares. The ruler will fit from corner to corner on this one. So just line up that ruler and cut the 12.5-inch squares. And those are just going to go perfect right up at the top. It's looking good,
Looks really good. It's kind of running out of room.
but you can just kind of add them up there.
There you go.
So this is like a puzzle that we've laid out here. And you have your borders right down there, Sue, if you want to explain those.
If you look at the red one is a 2-inch border, and that's just going to be a framing border that goes all the way around. And then we're going to end it up with this green. It's 4.5 inches.
Perfect.
And in each corner, if you can kind of see, it's going to be a little square that goes up in the corner, like little cornerstones.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, you know, we had fun doing this in holiday colors. But you know, you can do this in any color for any time of the year. This is just a great one in beautiful springtime colors. Now, Sue, looking at this, I would say you started out with the border fabric to select your colors.
Yeah, that was my theme fabric, and then I just pulled my basket fabrics here to just kind of pull out the colors from this little paisley print.
The yellow at the top and then the pink in the middle. I love this one. This is just so cute.
Yeah, it's cute with the daisies.
This is a very simple design that you can go ahead and free motion stitch right on the side triangles. Same one in the corner triangles. Love it. Here's our corner squares right up here. And we have to show the back. Now, Sue does not waste a thing. I love this. Her pieced backing, she takes absolutely everything that she has left over and sews it all together. That way, she doesn't have all these bags of scraps laying around and just waiting for another project. You know, actually, Sue, I like to have those bags of scraps laying
Oh,
around.
I want them gone.
Well, you did a beautiful job on this one. It's perfect for any time of the year. Well, I hope that you have as much fun making the baskets of cheer as Sue and I did.